What's going on YouTube? Astray TV Truth Exposed. Today we're going to be reacting to some posts that are inside of the spirituality Reddit group. Let's get it. Let's start with the first post, which I'm going to try to read through without laughing, but this guy's name is Obese Ham, and he went to a psychic. Needless to say, I could have finessed him out of that money easily. I had my future read and was wondering, can we really change our future? And he didn't even spell that right. And if so, why are psychics a thing? To give hope, to ease one's mind? I wonder how this dude spelled psychics right, but not R. I had my future read, and I am more humble than I have ever been. They said in a few years from now I will be a single parent, but I will be peaceful co-parenting. Currently, I have a karmic relationship that is a lesson from my past lives. Multiple lives to figure out a problem that's still unsolved, which really don't make sense, but... let's see where we left off. Past life, which had brought us together again to help complete something that was never closed in the past. I will be single for a while, but I will love again, and that I will find somebody who I don't have to show how to love me. They will automatically just do. Not do it, just automatically just do. And hearing this made me feel so much at peace, but it also made me scared knowing that my life has different plans for me. A lot I wasn't expecting, but deep down I knew. I'm currently just enjoying day by day, as I know possibly one day this will not be a thing, but in the same sense, I am also a believer. If you really believe in something, it will happen. The weird part is, it even went down to my cabin. I know I am building my cabin in a few years, and that is not to be altered because it's going to happen, and I really believe that. So my question, of course, everyone has their own beliefs. I know that anything can happen and alter our future, but it also makes you wonder, why are there psychics knowing that it's not guaranteed? Is it just to help ease someone's mind in the moment? That was a lot of text. There's a lot to unpack from this. First off, the claim that he has to come back to Earth 3, 4, 5 times, whatever he's claiming here, multiple times, to solve a relationship issue. It can take people a lot of time, but no way do I believe it takes multiple lifetimes to solve an issue. And then he goes on to where he's like kind of half-assing believing it and not believing it. You could tell he's probably just looking for other people to say they believe the shit that these people spew out, which I don't. And then his other question was very interesting. He said, everyone has their own beliefs. I know anything can happen and alter our future, but it also makes you wonder, why are psychics knowing that it's not guaranteed? My friend, you do not want a life that is guaranteed to play out page by page exactly how it should be, because then you wouldn't have free will, okay? Or you can say on the other side of the coin that you have a predetermined life, and your choices will either get you there faster or slower. My personal belief on this type of thing is that you die once you accomplish your purpose. That's simply what I believe on it. Let's talk about these tarot card reading people. They are scumbags. 90% of them. They all flip this situation around on grieving people. You'll have somebody who lost their husband, wife, son, daughter, whatever, and this person tells them, I've contacted them. So you're telling me that this person's loved one reached out to you before they reached out to the other person? That makes a lot of sense. These people prey on the weak, and they do a thing called social engineering. They'll get you to reveal bits and pieces of information so that they can exploit that. Or they'll just pay attention. You might come in with an amulet on that has a little pocket watch on it with an engraving that says mom or something along those lines. There's things that they can look up, and especially when they have you book your appointment in advance, like maybe 2 weeks or whatever, that gives them time to research your name, maybe look up your Facebook. They can see you posted that you lost a loved one on this day, and then they can see other posts about, oh, my stepfather used to love to play pool. Then you go into the psychic, they'll bring up, like, I'm seeing a pool table. Does that have any relevance to you? That kind of stuff. I could be wrong on saying that it's not real, but it goes back to that verse in the Bible that says, "No man shall know whenever the Father comes back," or something like that. I took that as like a metaphor, as people will not know the future. But that's just my interpretation of it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The most verifiable near-death experience ever recorded. One of the most medically documented near-death experiences ever recorded is the story of Pam Reynolds. In the early 1990s, Pam, a singer from Georgia, went under a rare and extreme surgery to remove a massive aneurysm in her brain. To do it, the doctors had to stop her heart and drain the blood from her head, and then to cool down the body to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. She was placed in what is called a hypothermic cardiac arrest. During that time, she had no measurable brain activity, no heartbeat, and no blood flow. She was clinically dead by all definitions. Yet, during this period, Sam described floating above her body and watching the surgery. She recalled specific medical instruments like a bone saw that resembled an electric toothbrush. She heard a female voice comment on the size of her arteries. She described events and conversations that were later confirmed by the surgical team. Even though she had her eyes taped shut, she shouldn't be able to see anything. Her ears were fitted with molded speakers that played loud clicking sounds to monitor the brainstem activity. The volume was high enough to prevent her from hearing anything else, and her brain was flatlined on the EEG. She also reported seeing a tunnel, deceased loved ones, a sense of overwhelming peace and love before being pulled back. This is what's known as a verifiable near-death experience, what people call NDEs. It means the person was clinically dead but came back with accurate information that they could not have obtained through ordinary means. Pam's case remains one of the strongest examples, suggesting that consciousness may continue even when the brain has fully shut down. On the note for that last one, that just shows you that consciousness is not attached to the brain. The consciousness in your senses may be attached to something else. I believe the consciousness is your soul, and your soul is seated in your body. That is why when you go to sleep, you can still wander around without your body and have dreams and all this, because it's connected to something else, not the body. Something that is very strange is that people who experience NDEs often experience that seeing the light or a tunnel, seeing deceased loved ones, and that overwhelming sense of peace and love before being pulled back. But the people who explain seeing that have ties to Christianity or religion of something similar. So I wonder if someone who believed in Islam had a different near-death experience. I wonder if a Satanist would have a different near-death experience based on what religion that they practice and believe in, because it's deep-rooted into your subconscious and your conscious mind, which I believe would influence what you see. Telling me that maybe which religion you follow, as long as it's a good religion that follows a peaceful God and doesn't require like this Satanism stuff, Satanism out of the way. I believe like being a Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, whatever. I believe that if you follow those and you're actually following God in your heart and in your mind, and you believe it's the right thing, I don't see a Buddhist getting sent to hell when he was worshiping God, just under a different name and a different religion. Next one. If everything happens for us and not to us, and that we can choose this life and our struggles, how can you explain genocide victims and other evils that happen to people? It's a long question, but one I consistently think about. For reference, this one comment from the Reddit user's name there really stood out to me. It was so deep and resonated with me, but I just can't get around why a soul would choose to go through such horrific things I've seen people go through. But if you get stuck in the victim mindset and don't process the experience, it will keep happening to you in this lifetime and the next until you do. Once we realize that everything happens for us, not to us, we can be grateful for our experiences. I know I skipped down a part there, but I just wanted to touch on that one. So this is something I commonly see people get mistaken. We don't choose to come to Earth to get murdered horribly by the cartels or in war. That's not how that works. What it is we have free will. So God may have a path for you to reach your goal, but that doesn't mean that the devil can't stop you. And the devil is prevalent on this earth because this earth belongs to him, and it is his domain. It's his playground. So he can use his people to take out God's people. And that's what happens when they get rid of babies. That's part of that whole thing there. And also, as far as picking our own life and struggles, I used to believe this. I'm not real sure now, because that goes back to the free will. You can't have... it's hard to balance it, right? So if you're going to select all your struggles and all this, of course nobody would pick the struggle. Who would want to be born in the hood where you're using the oven as heat, got to boil bath water, and have no food? Like, who would pick that for themselves? It doesn't really make sense. So it tells you that there's more to it. This may be true, but I think it's a lot more complex than us just picking our struggles. Last one, this is for the Christian folks who watch the channel. How to protect a Christian friend who does not believe in anything spiritual. That part made me have to read it over a few times. How are you Christian and don't believe in spiritual warfare or spiritual anything? In the span of just a few months, my friend has really, and I mean really, been unlucky. A lot of bad things have happened to her. A woman from her mom's workplace is very spiritual and told her mom that something very bad is going to happen to her daughter, aka my friend. Mind you, this woman didn't even know about my friend's existence and just told her mom that it was a gut feeling telling her that something bad is going to happen to her daughter. My friend is really scared, but she really does not believe in spirituality. So the least I tried to advise was her wearing a rosary outside and seeing a pastor. But even that is something she doesn't believe in. Such a pity. I know that she prays a lot, but her life only seems to be getting worse. I don't know what to do. My gut feeling is telling me that there's some kind of hex or something going on, but I don't really know how to tell. I really mean it when I say her life has been going so horrible. I've generally never seen someone's life go downhill so fast. I don't want it to get worse like that woman predicted. I don't want to seem crazy or delusional to my friend either. What can I do? Okay, so a lot to unpack on this one also. She's not a Christian if she doesn't believe in spiritual warfare. They use rosaries. They believe in spirits. They said, literally right here, look at this. The Christians are the ones who believe demons are fallen angels. So this girl might go to church, but there's still devils in that church, as we've seen what happens to little boys in that kind of religion. So we know that bad actors can be inside of a church. So that I'm not saying this lady is bad, but let's break it down like this, okay? I've done videos on possession and how it works, and which is how I believe personally it works. It's my own theory that I was coming up with of trying to explain it, is that everyone has a magnetic field, right? A lot of people call this the aura. The way a demon possesses you is it latches onto that aura to drain your life force, to drain your energy and weaken you so that it can move closer and closer through that aura to attach onto your spirit, onto your soul. But if you are a religious person or a spiritual person, you still have your lifeline connection to God. That's why it says that God's children, the people who believe in God, the churchgoers, cannot be possessed. It's not possible. So, this guy thinks something has attached to her, or a hex, whatever he was saying, which could only mean that she got stripped of her protection from God, that she opened a door which gives them permission to attach to your aura. They can't just attach to it. They have to have permission, which you give them through sin and through playing with Ouija boards, talking to spirits, things of this nature. So she opened the door. But also, I want to talk about the psychological aspect of this, the other side of the coin. What if her mom never told her about what this lady said? Because we know that manifesting things is real. So when someone tells you that you've been hexed, or someone tells you that this woman just randomly came up and happened to be a psychic and told me something very bad is going to happen to you, if that was never said to her, I bet you money that none of this stuff would be happening. Because her being told that put her in that mindset of something bad is happening.